All right, let's talk about Alpine.js. It's that rugged, minimal JavaScript framework everybody's been buzzing about. You know, the one that lets you sprinkle a little interactive magic on your websites without hauling in a giant library. It promises to keep things simple, but as we're about to find out, that simplicity can be a pretty sharp double-edged sword.
Yeah, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Alpine is an absolutely fantastic tool for getting things done fast. It has everything you need in one little package. But like any really powerful tool, if you're not careful, especially when your projects start to get bigger and more complex, you can get tangled up pretty badly.
So what's the big deal with Alpine? Why is it so appealing? Well, for a lot of developers, it feels like catching up with an old friend, maybe an old friend named jQuery. It has that same get in and get it done feeling, but totally reimagined for the modern web. And this is straight from the horse's mouth. This is Alpine's whole vibe. It's built to be this tough, no-nonsense tool that lets you embed your JavaScript behavior right there in your HTML. You don't need complicated build steps or virtual DOMs. You literally just drop in a script tag and you're off to the races.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. This slide shows a massive shift in how you think. With jQuery, you're like a director on a set, yelling commands. Find that box and hide it, now. But with Alpine, you're more like a scriptwriter describing a scene. You just say, this box should be visible only when this visible variable is true. It's a move from ordering the computer around to just describing how things should be. It's a huge part of what makes it feel so fresh.
And check this out. This is basically the entire framework on one slide. Its whole power is packed into just a handful of commands. 15 attributes, 6 properties, and 2 methods. That's it. You could honestly learn the whole thing over a cup of coffee, and that's a huge, huge part of its appeal.
Okay, but here's the turn. That beautiful simplicity, it can hide some gnarly complexity. As you start to build bigger and bigger things, the very features that make Alpine so easy to get started with can lead to some really tricky problems. In this case, a particularly nasty memory leak.
So what was the trigger for this whole mess? It boils down to this question right here. Using a simple directive like exif to show or hide one thing is Alpine 101. It's easy. But what happens if you put an exif inside of another exif? It seems totally harmless, but this is exactly where a subtle but very serious memory leak was hiding.
Now, to really get what went wrong, you have to understand reactivity. Think of it like a spider web. Your data is in the middle, and all your user interface elements are connected to it by threads. You poke the data, the web ripples, and the UI updates automatically. The problem is, if you remove an element from the page but you don't properly cut all its little threads in that web, it never really goes away. It just becomes a ghost, hanging around in memory forever.
The developer who tracked this down had to do some serious detective work, so let's follow the clues. First, an exif condition turns false, so Alpine starts the cleanup process. It removes the top-level element from the page. Then, a built-in observer is supposed to see that removal and trigger another function to clean up all the children. So far, so good, right? It sounds like it should just work.
And here it is, the oh no moment. The problem was a race condition. By the time the code tried to clean up the inner exif element, its parent had already been ripped out of the document. So now it was floating in limbo, in what's called a detached tree. The cleanup function would see it, get totally confused, and just skip it, leaving all of its children orphaned in memory.
You know, the fix was actually beautiful in its simplicity. Instead of just removing the element and hoping for the best, the developer just flipped the order. They made the code first go in and deliberately clean up all the children and then remove the parent element. It's a proactive approach that makes sure nothing gets left behind. Just brilliant.
And the results were just fantastic. Not only was the memory leak plugged, but the new code was actually 5 lines shorter. And on top of that, it was more efficient, making the cleanup process twice as fast. That's the developer's dream, isn't it? A bug fix that makes your code smaller, faster, and correct. A total triple win. So this whole memory leak saga, it wasn't just some isolated bug. It really kicked off a much broader conversation within the developer community about Alpine's whole design, its philosophy, and the trade-offs that come with it.
And when you start digging through GitHub issues and Reddit threads, you see these same concerns pop up again and again. People talk about performance hitting a wall, especially with really big lists, They bring up security because running JavaScript directly from an HTML attribute can open you up to attacks. And the big one, that cool trick of mixing your logic and your HTML, it's fun at first, but on a huge project, it can become an absolute nightmare to debug.
This brings us to another tool in this space, Stimulus. If Alpine is the Swiss Army knife, then Stimulus is the surgeon's scalpel. And this simple counter component tells the whole story. With Alpine, the logic, the count variable, the click handler, it's all just living right there inside the HTML. But with Stimulus, the HTML is clean. It just has these little hooks that point to a totally separate, organized JavaScript file. It is a fundamentally different philosophy.
So you've got the all-in-one Swiss Army knife and the precision surgeon's scalpel. The goal here isn't to declare a winner. It's about being a smart craftsperson, understanding the job you have to do, and then picking the right tool for that specific job.
This table really lays out the trade-offs. Alpine is unbeatable for that instant gratification. You can whip up a prototype or add a cool drop-down menu in minutes. Stimulus, on the other hand, it takes a little more setup. There's more boilerplate. But that initial investment pays off massively on big, serious applications, where testability and long-term maintenance are everything.
But here's the real pro tip, the most pragmatic advice from developers who use both. You don't actually have to choose one. The smartest path forward is often a hybrid approach where you get the best of both worlds.
So what does that actually look like? Well, you use Alpine for the sprinkles, the quick, self-contained UI bits. A simple toggle, a tabbed interface, a drop-down menu, easy stuff. Then, for the depth, the really complex core application logic, like a big multi-step form with lots of validation, that's when you reach for the precision of Stimulus.
So, in the end, the conversation isn't really Alpine versus Stimulus. It's about knowing what's in your toolbox. The mark of an expert isn't having one favorite tool they use for everything. It's having the wisdom to know exactly which tool to reach for. So the question to ask yourself is, what job are you building for? Are you making a quick prototype, or are you building a cathedral? Your answer will tell you everything you need to know.